right, so this is the inside of our bodega, our storage shed. And, you know, I believe, as I told you before, that the first thing you should build if you're going to be creating an off-grid homestead is a storage shed. You need a place to put your tools so that you don't have them scattered everywhere. You know, where they can be safe, where you can lock them up. You need a place, especially where you can create your solar system so you can have power in order to operate your tools. So today, I've got an empty shed, which is great. We got the outside looking good, and it's complete. But I need some shelves. I can't just pile everything up in the middle of the floor. So I'm going to build some shelves at the very top. And that's the reason I made it as tall as I did. So I'm going to take and mount these. Real simple. Got some hardware, you know, some pipe. Mount this on the wall. And I'll have 3 of them, you know, as evenly spaced as I can since I've got boxes up there. But then I can take a board and I can put a board right on top of it. And really, it's a movable shelf. But this way, I've got a good, strong shelf. Got some good, solid lag bolts that'll go inside here to hold it to my 1-inch boards up there. So, you know, I can't put anything extremely heavy, but with these 3, it'll be plenty strong enough to put my tools up there at the very top. So, I'm going to put up one shelf, see how it goes, and then I'm going to put some shelves up in the rest of my building here, so I have a place to put stuff. Let's get after it. Looks like we got our first shelf, and I think it looks great. Plenty strong, plenty wide enough. So now we got an idea of what we want. I don't think we need another one on top, but I am going to have one over here, probably 1 or 2 over here, and I'll just have to decide how far apart I want them. But now I got a place that I can put some tools. And that way I'm not looking around and scrabbling through the back of my vehicle trying to find stuff. I can get things organized. That way I can work a lot better, a lot faster. Now we have a place to put a few tools. Once we get the rest of them shelves up, we're going to be looking good. Got all this dirt from whenever I leveled my foundation and dug my foundation. So I got a big pile here, got a big pile over there, got another great big pile back behind the bodega or the storage shed. So what are we going to do with all this dirt? Now, of course, I could just spread it all out, but since we're learning what to do at our off-grid homestead, we're going to take that dirt and we're going to build some planter boxes. In other words, we're going to build us a place where we can grow some tomatoes, we can grow some lettuce, and it's kind of off the ground. So I'm going to put them in boxes for right now, so I don't know where my garden's going to be, but you know, I can go ahead and start planting some of that stuff right now. And, you know, hopefully within about 90 days, maybe 60 to 90 days, I can start having my own salad right here. All I need is some tomatoes, some lettuce, bell pepper, carrots. So I'm going to go ahead and build some boxes today so that we can start doing that. That'll be a good way to take this dirt, because it's good black dirt. It's been sitting here for years. Well, probably since Adam and Eve. And it's probably really good and fertile. So we're going to take that dirt and we're going to use it in an off-grid homestead. So let's get after it. So I decided, instead of 3 feet long and 18 inches, decided to go with 24 inches or 2 foot. Simply because, well, that's how much wood I had left, and if I'd have cut it 18 inches, it would have just been wasted. So I figured, heck, why not another 6 inches? Give me that much more planting room. So that's going to be great. So now I've got that cut out. Now, on a cultural side note, okay, this wood that I'm using, hey, it's not treated. It's not going to last that long. It's called Formoletta, okay? If I'm even pronouncing that right. And they use this stuff, pretty much scrap. It's used when they're forming up stuff, hence the name Formoletta. I guess, I could be totally wrong. But they use this stuff when forming up cement and I guess other odd jobs. I'm going to use it because it's cheap wood. And this wood here, which is a little over 11 feet, which just seems kind of be a typical dimension. I don't know why not go ahead and do it 12. But anyway, it's like 11 feet and 4 inches. Matter of fact, let's see what that is in meters. Maybe that's the deal. Not quite sure. All right, well, I thought maybe it was some kind of meters. Thought maybe it'd be close to 3 meters or something, but it's not. It's 340. Anyway, whatever that translates to. Anyway, it's 11 feet and 4 inches, and that board runs me 6,000 colones a piece. So I'll take and put on the screen whatever that translates at today's conversion currency rate. Anyway. So 6,000 clones, that's kind of expensive just for trash wood, but it doesn't look bad, and it's going to make great boxes so that I can go ahead and start planting stuff. Now that I got my sides there, I need one more inside, so I got to cut it. So let's do it. All right, now that we got our 4 sides, we're going to take and cut this. Our box is only 11 inches tall, or actually 12 inches tall, but we're going to cut these at 11 inches. That way we can put them in the corner, and we have something good and solid to screw our boards together so we have a good, strong box. This would be the perfect time to have a miter saw, but I don't have a miter saw out here yet. I will, but since I don't have one, well, we'll just use this. I always call it a skill saw, but you know, it's not really a skill saw. It's a circular saw. That's what it is. Ha! That's our 4 blocks that's going to go in the corner. All right, I got my blocks right here, and that's what's going to really, whenever I screw in my 4 sides, it's going to hold it much better, okay? Now, like I said, these are, my board's 12 inches. These are 11 inches. I didn't want them all the way to the top just because I didn't want to see them. I wanted to be covered with dirt, but I might still see them. Really doesn't matter. Really, but I want it to be down. So, I'm going to line these up and put them right in the corner. Now, obviously, this job would be a whole lot easier with a cordless, but I don't have a cordless out here, and I hadn't bought one yet, so I'm just going to use what I've got. Building a little flower box or a gardening box for vegetables is really easy. And it's fun to do because then you can put them on your porch. You can put flowers in them, or if you like me, you want to put some vegetables in there, tomatoes, it's great to have. You have fresh fruit that you know is organic and free of chemicals. Whoa, probably should have drilled that hole. Too close to the edge. I split my wood, and my screw's really overkill, too big. So in order to keep, and this is very soft wood, in order to keep from splitting it, well, pre-drill your holes and you won't have that problem. And don't be too close to the edge. All right, we got our first piece. And if you picture the 3-foot piece, well, the 3-foot piece is going to go on just like this, and then I'm going to screw it from the opposite side. That way it's going to be good and strong. All right. We got both our boxes. Now we just need to take our 3-foot piece and put our 3-foot piece on there. This is where it'd be good to have a third hand. So, here's what I'm gonna have to do. I'll take some clamps and I'll clamp them together. That way it will hold it while I do all the screwing. Now, these clamps are probably not the best ones. These are actually welding clamps. And this wood is soft, so it's probably going to put a little dent inside there. Not a big deal. It's just my gardening boxes. They're temporary. But it would be better if you had clamps that's made for wood. Hold it together, and that way it wouldn't put a dent in there in case you're trying to build one that's going to be pretty for your box. You know, in case you're building a pretty one for your porch. All right, we've got that side. Let's do the other side. I'm going to turn it over and clamp it from this end. That way I can make sure it's even. I'm good. we got our box together, and here's the bottom. So now we just need to put our bottom on. And guess what? Here's where I realized I just messed up. See, originally, I wanted my box to be the same width as this. That way I could just use one board all the way around. And I didn't do that. But hey, it's really no big deal, because I'll just cut me another one. And since I made it 24 inches, well, great. Then that's 1 foot. All I got to do is cut me another one. It's not going to quite make it, because if I wanted 2 of these to make it, see, it's a little bit longer here. And really, if I put 2 of these on here, because I have this extra piece on each side, well, now, in reality, this whole thing is going to be 26 inches. Yep, 26 inches. And I wanted to put 1 originally, but now I need 2. So you know what? I'm going to fix that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut off 2 inches so that I can make this 24 inches. So easiest thing to do is take off this side piece, cut 2 inches off each one, put it back together. Then it only takes 2 of these to cover the bottom. I didn't plan far enough ahead, but it's that easy to make a correction. All right, we have our box put back together. Now, let's hope that we measured right. So, if we take and we put this piece right here, then all we should have to do is cut 1 more like this and put it right there. We take our measuring tape and we measure. You bet. All we got to do is cut 1 more piece like this, and this box will be complete. Let's get after it. Now, just in case you don't have that much experience and you're just a beginner, and you're wondering why I'm putting these spacer boards underneath there. Well, I put those spacer boards underneath there so that when I'm cutting this board, well, I'm not cutting this board right here. So this board is really just my table. I put this underneath, and that way when I'm cutting, I have to first make sure my blade doesn't touch the other board. In other words, it just needs to be thick enough to go. You know, normally 1 tooth is long enough. If you got 1 tooth beyond the blade, that's generally plenty. And then that way, make sure it doesn't cut the other board. That's why I've got those spacers. Now, remember, in the corner, I have these blocks. So I'm going to screw right into that block. But what we need to do is put us another block down here. We'll do that after I get it fastened. Now, this is what I used to cut the block. And nothing special. It's just some scrap I had laying around. But it's a good idea. So in case you're wondering, it's just a 2x2 block. And then that way I have something good and strong to screw it to. Because this wood is soft. If I were to screw it in there, it would fall apart. Wouldn't be sturdy. Now, I want this to be square. And it's just a flower box, but I still want it to be square. And, you know, the box itself could shift just a little bit. Well, in order to make sure it's square, all I need to do is I need to measure it from corner to corner and make sure that it's exactly the same. Right now, I have 43 1/4. And, well, right at 43 1/4, it's almost square. I can pull it this way a hair, and I can see it's going to be square if I screw it together right there. All right, if I check and see if it's square, I got 43 1/8. 43 3/16. So that is pretty darn square. That's about as close as I can get it. Now, to make this stronger, it would be good for me to put a piece of this block right in here and right in here. And it wouldn't hurt to put a couple here so that I have something to screw this board onto. And that way it's a whole lot stronger. So let's cut some. It doesn't have to be the whole length of it. And all I've got is this. I could go get some more. So it doesn't have to be the whole length. I could probably get away with a foot here, and then just a couple over there, just to give me something strong to screw the center onto. Since I only had a little more than 40 inches, I just decided to cut them all 10 inches apiece. So I can take and stick one right here, 5 inches on either side. That gives me plenty to fasten to. Same on the other side. I'll measure the center, and then I'll put it right down here in the center, and I'll do the same thing right here. Now my box will be jam-packed tight. It'll be solid. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're never going to see it. You're going to fill this box up with dirt. Now the question is, how do I hold that in place while I screw from the outside? I'll have to first put me a screw in from this side to hold it down. All right. Now that's in there, but I don't need to guess where it's at from the other side, so let's measure it real quick. Now it's 14 inches from the other side, but remember we got an inch. So we'll just say 15 inches from both sides. Now the thing we want to remember is that our block is sitting here, but we've got a base here that's 1 inch. So we're going 15 inches from here, and also we got to remember that inch. So we're going to go 2 inches up. So 15 and 2 is going to put me in the center of my board. We can take this temporary screw out because I'm going to need it for the other one. All right, that's looking good. Let's go ahead and do one on the other 3 sides. All right, we've got a solid box. So now everything is put together. With our blocks down here, we've got, 3 big monster screws in there, here, 4 over here, 4 over here. We got a solid box right now. We could take this box, we could fill it up with dirt, and we could go ahead and plant some seed, and then hopefully 60 to 90 days, we're going to be picking some fresh organic vegetables so I can make a homemade salad. It's just that easy to build you, an above the ground planter for your vegetables, or if you want a planter box for your porch, it really is that easy. And as you can see, it really doesn't take that long, and you've got a box. Now I gotta say, that looks good. I'll probably paint the outside of the box just to make it look pretty, but I now have a bed that I can actually start planting in, and I think I'm going to put lettuce right there. Maybe even a few carrots right beside it. So one thought did hit me while I was filling it up, because it's been a long time since I've done any gardening, and I never really have done any gardening in a box like this. But one thing that hit me, because we get a lot of rain here. If this was on the porch and it was covered and wasn't getting a lot of rain, I can control how much water I put in it. However, it's out in the open, and we can get some downpours today. We got 2 inches of rain just all of a sudden at noon. So this box could fill up pretty quickly, and I'm thinking it's probably going to drain well. But if it doesn't, I might need to drill some holes in it so that the water has a place to come out so that it doesn't get soaked and end up killing my vegetables. So I think in the next box I build, I'm going to go ahead and put a few holes in the bottom of it just for safe measure. That way you don't have an overabundance of water. All right, now that we've got our garden box built and we've got some dirt in it, well, I got some seeds here. There's sunflower, just kind of make things pretty around here. Got some cucumber, lettuce. We're going to plant some lettuce. That way, by the time I come back next week, I can eat some fresh lettuce. Maybe. It's going to take some while. And I got some tomatoes, but I got some cherry tomatoes. I don't think I'll plant them just yet. Well, I'll go ahead and get a start on them, maybe. I've got some carrots, so I'm going to put some carrots and lettuce in this same box. I got beets, cauliflower, and broccoli. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of this stuff planted, put stuff right in here. That way, when I come back, I'll build a few more boxes, and I'll have a garden here. Won't be long. I'll be eating fresh salad right out of my own dirt. Oh, well, hello there. You caught me gardening, didn't you? Well, I now have some lettuce and carrots in this box. Got some sunflowers over here that I can plant around the off-grid homestead so I can feed the birds. Also got some cherry tomatoes and some big tomatoes in there. Those I can transplant when I get finished building some other garden boxes. So, as you can see, these are really easy to build. Makes it easy for you to have your own above ground garden. And you know, it's not a lot of work. And this way we can learn how we can live off grid on our own homestead. So I'm enjoying learning how to do all this. And remember, don't hate, educate. If you think I'm doing something different from how you would do it, hey, tell me what you think. You know, what's real important is just getting out there and doing it. It doesn't matter if you don't know how, just get out there and do something. That's better than doing nothing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Have fun with us as we learn how to build a tiny house on our off-grid homestead. Look at that. Where's Bugs Bunny when you need him? What's up, Doc? Let's take a look and see what else we got. Woo, look at that. Yeah. Man, look at that. We got some good looking carrots. Now, woo, that's an itty bitty one. What am I going to do with that? Well, Take a look at that. Now that's a mess of carrots right there. They've been in the ground a long time. I can't wait to try these out.